The most consequential decision in an AI system may not be the one the system makes. It may be the one a tired person makes after reading its recommendation. Imagine a company in the middle of a software transition. Hundreds of employees need temporary access to tools, files, and project spaces. An AI assistant ranks the requests. It sees deadlines, workload, policy constraints, and signals of urgency. One request is tied to a launch deadline. Another comes from a new colleague who cannot access the tools needed for their job. The model can rank the queue, but it cannot decide what the organization owes these people in this moment. This difference matters. Optimization is not judgment. Optimization begins with an objective. Reduce delay, increase resolution, prioritize the most urgent case, use fewer resources. Within those instructions, an AI system can search through possibilities faster and more consistently than a person. That is useful. But judgment begins one level earlier. Judgment asks, what should count as urgent? Which harm matters more? What obligation does the organization have to an exception? What would make this outcome acceptable, not only efficient? AI can help us see the shape of a decision. It cannot make the organization disappear from it. Those questions are not missing data points waiting somewhere inside the model. They are questions about purpose, responsibility, and the consequences people are willing to accept. Many organizations answer this problem with a reassuring phrase, human in the loop. But a person at the last click is not automatically exercising oversight. If they cannot see the evidence, they are not reviewing it. If they do not have time to think, they are not judging it. If they cannot override the outcome, they are not deciding it. If there is no route to challenge the rule, they are not governing it. A human signature can become a ritual that makes a system look accountable without making anyone more capable of changing what it does. The real question is not, is there a human in the loop? It is, does the human have a meaningful way to alter the outcome? Meaningful review has 4 conditions. First, context. The reviewer needs more than a score. They need to understand the case, the purpose, and what the system may be missing. Second, time. Third, authority. And fourth, challenge. The reviewer must be able to think, override the recommendation, request more evidence, or question the rule that produced it. Keep all 4, and AI becomes a disciplined instrument inside human judgment. Not every decision deserves the same kind of review. The first boundary is for work that is routine and reversible. A standard request can be routed. A draft reply can be prepared. A duplicate record can be flagged. Here, automation is not a betrayal of judgment. It can remove friction from work that should never have demanded so much attention in the first place. A person can correct the result quickly, and the consequence of a mistake is limited. But even routine automation needs a correction path. The organization should see when the system is wrong, fix the error without drama, and learn whether the pattern is changing. When the cost of correction is low, let the system move quickly. Just make sure someone can put the work back on course. The second boundary is for work that is complex but reviewable. Here, the system may be genuinely helpful. It can compare many signals, summarize a history, identify unusual patterns, and recommend a priority. But the evidence can still be inspected, and the outcome can still be revised. The AI assistant groups requests by deadline, dependency, and likely operational impact. The team lead sees the recommendation, the underlying record, the uncertainty, and the reasons for the ranking. Then the lead can disagree. That is the point. The reviewer is not there to bless a result. The reviewer is there to decide whether the result makes sense in context. A recommendation earns its value by making human judgment better prepared, not by making it unnecessary. The third boundary is for decisions that are high impact or contested. These are cases where the consequences matter, where reasonable people can disagree, and where the organization may need to explain why it chose one path rather than another. In our transition office, the launch deadline matters. So does the new employee who cannot work without access. The AI system can calculate downstream delay. It can show which teams are affected. It can reveal patterns that would otherwise be invisible. But it cannot settle the trade-off. At this boundary, the system should prepare evidence, not deliver the final verdict. A named person or group should make the decision, record the reason, and leave a route for the case to be reconsidered when new information appears. A good organization does not confuse a difficult decision with a defective process. Sometimes the right answer is not obvious. That is why it needs an accountable one. Then there is the fourth boundary, decisions that are irreversible or value-laden. These are decisions where correction may come too late, where the result allocates serious risk or opportunity, or where the organization is deciding what it owes people. Here, AI may still help. It can organize information, surface inconsistency, and show possible consequences, but it should not hold the final authority. Responsibility requires a place where reasons can be given, disagreement can be heard, and a decision can be owned by someone answerable for it. This is not because people are mystical. People can be rushed, biased, and wrong. The question is not whether a human is smarter than the system. The question is whether the institution is willing to stand behind the trade-off it has made. There's another reason the last click is not enough. People often give automated advice more authority than it deserves, especially when the system looks confident. The workload is high, the case is complex, or time is short. Researchers call this tendency automation bias, over-reliance on an automated recommendation. This does not mean reviewers are careless. It means the environment can make deference feel rational. The practical response is not to demand heroic skepticism from exhausted people. It is to design review differently. Show the evidence, not only the answer. Make uncertainty visible. Ask for a reason when a recommendation is accepted or overridden. Train reviewers on the system's limits. Give them enough time to think. If the workflow makes disagreement costly, the model will eventually become more powerful than anyone intended. The crucial design work happens before the difficult case arrives. For every AI-supported workflow, define the escalation path in advance. What signals turn a recommendation into a review? What makes a case too consequential, too uncertain, or too unusual to automate? Who receives the case? What evidence must travel with it? Who can override the system? Who can pause the workflow? And how does the organization learn from the outcome? Do not wait for an exception to discover that nobody owns it. A good escalation path does not make ordinary work slower. It keeps ordinary work fast by giving exceptional work somewhere intelligent to go. This is trustworthy AI, a clear route from recommendation to review, from review to decision, and from decision to correction. Accountability becomes real when it has a name, not a vague promise that the business owns the system. A named role, clear decision rights, visible lines of communication, and authority proportionate to the risk. This is not paperwork for its own sake. When a recommendation causes harm, confusion, or an unacceptable trade-off, people need to know who can investigate, revise the objective, change the process, and stop it. AI has no office door to knock on. AI will make organizations far more capable of finding patterns, ranking options, and optimizing what they can describe. That is not a reason to fear it. It is a reason to become more exact about what we delegate. Let the system automate what is routine and reversible. Let it prepare evidence where a case is complex but reviewable.
Let it reveal uncertainty where a decision is contested. But know when a recommendation ends and when an accountable human decision must begin.